All right, so I'm going to show off some of my new features here. I've made quite a few changes since my last video. Um, it's pretty close now to being functional. Like you could almost run a D&D campaign in it now. Not quite, but pretty soon. It's just like a few minor things that I need to do, and I could probably finish them off um, honestly within a week or so. Um, so yeah, first thing, I added a new theme. Let's log in here, get this going. Um, this takes a second, so I'll just do this first. So there's a new theme. I don't have a way for you to like change it yet, but you will be able to in the future. I programmed it so that now it'll be really easy to add a selection mechanism for the theme, and you'll be able to just like pick a few colors and customize it yourself. I think that'd be kind of nice, and I can even maybe do it programmatically so that from a script, or maybe when you change locations, it can change the theme and stuff. I think that would be kind of cool. So yeah, so I just created a new campaign here. This view is a bit different. I added cards for them instead of like this old row that I used to have, like that. I don't have anything here yet. I want to have like images for campaigns, and that would go back here. But for now, this kind of gives you an idea of how it gets laid out. If you create another one, then another one will pop up over here. Um, so yeah, oh, over here, I guess. I actually haven't tested that, so this should come up here, but whatever. Um, so yeah, let's just load in here. So I sped this part up quite a bit. Um, I don't remember if it showed in the video before, but that process took about like 20 odd seconds, and as I was adding more and more content, it like ballooned up to 35. And yeah, well, let's just say hooray for database transactions. I found out that there is a way to do that much more efficiently. So yeah. All right, so here we are. We're in game. We have a fresh campaign. So the first thing you probably want to do is create a character. So I have created a character creator, and I have, you can see here, I've redone the menus for my folder views here. So in the future, I'm going to have these be customizable, so you'll be able to make like your own views and your own like menu items and stuff, so you can have like different, basically mini apps that you could use to do stuff with like characters and things like that. But for now, there's some basic ones. So we'll just create a character here. So this brings up the character creator. And this form has been completely built using a markup language that, in theory, you could write yourself and you can upload yourself. Actually, just if we can quickly look, you go over here. There are some better ways to write these views, but here you can at least see them. So this is called a CD, a component definition for an action button for Acid Arrow, and it's got some data about it. But let's go over here, and you can see here, character creator. This is like a custom markup language that describes the character creator that you just saw. So you can write all this yourself. You can add it to the app. You can make your own views. You can tweak the character creator, all that stuff. And I've got a much better way of doing that. I have a programmatic client that you could download, but I'll show that at a different time. So yeah, let's go back here, and then let's add a character. So we'll remake the character I use in my D&D campaign as best as I can. I can't do it all because some of the content isn't available. I can only use the SRD content. But yeah, I'll be adding some of my own content as well as we go along. And so you'll be able to, I'll flesh out what is missing. So yeah, half elf is probably the closest thing to an Aasimar. So let's choose that. You can see here you have a nice little stepper form where it tells you the different steps in character creation as you go through. Green steps are completed, blue steps are in progress, and gray steps have not yet been completed. And yeah, you can go through here and make your choices. Choose half elf. As you just saw, you can go back and forward. You can go back and forward through here, although I think it might be broken right now, so I'm not going to do it, but I'm sure it'll be just a minor fix. So you can make choices here for each character, or for each aspect of the character. All the SRD data needed to make these choices is in there. So if you went to any website or document that shows the SRD data, you'll have like a page for race, a page for class, each class, and they'll have all the traits and features and stuff about it in there. So I basically taken that, which is, it's free content. You're allowed to use it as long as you provide a license, which I haven't yet, but I will when I release the app. You can browse all that here. So it's all in there. You can read about it, inform yourself when you make your choices. In the future, I'm probably going to add like a little info button here or something. So like there'll be a little button there and you can like click and then it'll take you to something, or make something pop up on the side, or something nice that you don't have to like scroll around to find stuff. You just go through here like, oh, what's this? Click, shows you what it is. Oh, that looks cool. That doesn't look cool, right? So that's how it'll work in the future, but for now it's functional. This does work. So yeah, let's just pick 2 skills here. Yeah, sure. Actually, so one thing I don't have yet is that you'll see in a minute, you'll be able to choose skills from the background and also the class. And right now, the character creator doesn't know that you've, say, selected 2 skills in this part of the form, in half alpha, and then when you go to background, like if you select Arcana in background, it won't be selected. So I have to implement something that I call choice sets to make that work. But for now, this works. So you just have to kind of remember what you picked. So let's just pick any 2 things, whatever. So Dex and Con, always decent on any character. Let's make them kind of evil. So pick Infernal. Evil but principled, so lawful evil. Okay, so now you can pick your background. So I got tired of selecting these things every single time when I was testing making characters, so they're sort of by default are you can't select anything, like they're just validated, so you don't have to like fill them out. But yeah, when I release it, you'll be able to choose these and they'll do stuff. So let's pick a couple evil sounding languages here. Those seem pretty evil. Again, all the data about the Acolyte background is in there. Let's go next. So pick Sorcerer here. So all these classes work. I've tested them all. There might be like 1 or 2 things that don't quite work, but for like, I think, yeah, on Ranger, for instance, the 2 favored humanoid enemies doesn't work, but by and large, pretty much everything's in there. So there's just a few minor things like that. Like across all levels and all classes, it's like 3 things, so it's not a big deal. So we'll add these 2 skills for now. Items aren't implemented yet, so I'm not going to worry about that. I think that was the starting cantrips that I took for my character, and yeah, and then I took these 2. These are just workhorses of sorcerers. So yeah, there's a few minor things. This is kind of annoying. This scrolls back and forth, but bigger fish to fry right now. So yeah, again, all the data's in there. Let's go next. And choose. So right now, in the SRD, they only give you usually 1. They don't give you that many options, so there's only 1 choice, but I set it up as a choice because I'll be adding my own choices to fill this out. So just imagine that as things keep going, there'll be more choices here. So go brass. All right, so this is probably the weakest part of the form right now. You know, you can roll, and it's actually not bad. I'll keep that. Anyway, so it's not really clear that you can do this, that you can drag these things. You can, but it doesn't really look like you can. So that's not really the best design, but for now, you know, it works. And again, there's just so much to do that I've kind of just left this as is. That looks pretty good. He's gonna have like noodle arms, but that's all right. And he's pretty dumb, but oh well. Okay. So yeah, again, equipment's not implemented, and the form doesn't close right now because when I'm testing, I like to have the form stay open because, you know, fixing things that are broken. So I'll like click this, go check if there was any errors, you know, change a few things, fix something, click it again to send all that input again. But yeah, that will change when I release the full version. So here you go. So the character's in there now. You can click on it and you can see the character sheet. There it is. So yeah, so everything's kind of in there. These are all your sort of main stats. You can see the languages and the levels and ability scores and hit dice, etc. And so a lot of this stuff you can modify. You can't modify it all yet, but a lot of it you can. So for instance, we can improve this really crappy strength score here. Let's give them a nice fat 20. And you can see when you update it, the ability score modifier gets updated. So in the background, all this stuff is linked together. There are rules about how things get updated, how attributes get updated by other attributes, and so everything gets kind of automatically updated. Like if we go here to Constitution, for instance, pretty sure this should update our HP. Yeah, so it updates our HP. Likewise, I think this should work. I'm not totally sure because, yeah, okay. So you can, these are your hit dice. This is, I believe, the die type, and this is the roll, the other way around. Anyways, let's set it back to 0. So you can also go to your classes here. By default, it really should show you the class that you have. So it should probably sort these tabs by whatever character you have the most levels in, but whatever works for now. So here you go. You could see like special properties of your class. It shows you your spell slots. It shows you your spell save DC, and you know these are specific to the class. And you don't have sorcery points yet, but you will have them, and you can see them here. And you can also see the features that you have, and you can click on them and you can view them, read about them. You know, yeah, there's little bugs like this everywhere, but not a big deal. So yeah, you can read about all your spells if you so choose. We have similar sheets for the race. You know, this looks a little weird, but I'll fix it. For now, you can see everything. Yeah, and equipment's not implemented. Actions, I will show you actions in a second. I'm going to come back to it. So the first thing is we have to create a token. So right now you can drag an image to the map, and it will show you. It'll make a token. Let's see. There's a little view about the token that pops up here. So that's cool. But right now this isn't attached to any characters. And eventually you'll be able to attach a character in a much more user-friendly way, but for now you have to do it through this. So there are menus that I've created for all the different files and folders. So you can right-click an image and you can go create token, brings up this little thing. You could select a character, which is the one I just created. And then for now, I'll just fill this out real fast. There we go. Okay, so now we have a character that's linked to a token, in the location. So you can select it, see it gets selected. You can move it around the map. Now he's drowning. Now he's not. So you can see here, you have the character shows up in this character portrait up here. You have the name as well, and you also have these two buttons. So here you can open up the sheet. You can also press the C button, also brings up the sheet. And then this here brings up the leveler, which we'll get into, allows you to level up your character. And for that, you can also press L, and that will bring up the leveler as well, for whatever character you have selected. Okay, so the next thing is, down here you can see, this is where your actions will go. So we don't have any there right now because we haven't added them. In the future, I'm going to have, this will be a bit longer, and I'll add some of the common actions by default. So when you get your character, it'll already start with like something that lets you select like the dodge action, attack action, do skill checks, etc. There'll be little buttons for that all down here. And then you'll have a whole bunch that you can customize. You can add your own things too. So let's go back to the character sheet now. And we'll go to this tab that we didn't go to earlier, actions. So here, you can see this is, at this preliminary stage, I don't have all the action lists in here, but I will have them. This is just a demo. So you can drag these abilities to the action bar like this. And if you are looking down at the bottom, you'll see, there they are. And you can swap them around. You can take them off again. So let's organize it like this. Combat on the left, utility on the right. Maybe to make it more clear, we'll do it like that. Okay. So now we have our actions. And what's also kind of cool is you can move your actions around from the bar in this view as well. So that also works. Now, currently, I haven't written the scripts for all these spells, but I can do that pretty quickly. Right now, Firebolt kind of works. So if you click on Firebolt, you'll see here, right now, that's all it does. It just, it gets the event, returns this piece of text. But what I'll be doing is in the future, I'll be implementing all these spells. Firebolt will, roll some dice, it'll add them up, it'll print out the result here, and when you click it, you'll also get a little targeting thing. You'll be able to click on another character, it'll apply the damage automatically, and then say what happened here. So yeah, that is how that all works. That's kind of what I've been doing for the last little while, few months if I'm being honest. There's also a bunch of behind the scenes stuff. I was doing dev tools, and I wasn't just doing this, but just making the sheet and the character creator, the leveler, and all that work was a lot of work. So but yeah, let's just check out the leveler briefly. So here it is. You can level up in anything, but we'll just keep going with the sorcerer for now. Multi-class, not totally working yet. So here is sorcerer. So let's give him a new spell. Let's say Burning Hands. Seems good. He's a fire sorcerer. Nothing really else to choose at level 2. So you'll get your Sorc points, and I think you get a new spell slot for first level. But other than that, you just choose a new spell, and that's about it. But so we'll do that. Again, it doesn't close yet. So now if you go here, you'll see you've got a new hit dice. We've got a nice roll. Level is now level 2. HP is increased. Down here, sorcerer level is 2. And if we go to the sorcerer tab, you can see now the sorcerer points are 2. The spell slots have increased. It's all there. Burning Hands is now in your spell list. And if we go over here to actions, there you go, Burning Hands. So you can bring that up now and do something like that, and there you go. So yeah, I think that's about it. Don't really think I have anything else to show. The next things that I'm going to add is I'm going to add a turn view. So when you start combat, there'll be a little thing that I can just sort of mock this up using the drawing tool. It'll be kind of like, it'll be a little wider than that actually. But kind of like if you imagine there being like a little thing, little box like this, right where that red square is, there'll be a little thing there, and you'll have like, you know, cards. So there'll be things like this, and the character portraits will show up, you know, here. And then, you know, this will be the current person to go, etc. So kind of like if you've ever played Divinity, Original Sin 2, or many other games, to be frank, are like this. It's a pretty nice interface for seeing a turn order. It doesn't show you every single turn item, but it shows you enough to see, you know, what's happening next, and maybe it'll add a little button so you can kind of scroll through it. And once I have that, yeah, we're pretty much ready to go. Just need to get some of the spells doing just a bit more. For now, I'm gonna implement dice rolls, and I'm also going to make these make the abilities. Gotta get the cursor there. I'll make these abilities print out not just this, but also a description. So maybe there'll be a little I button or something. It'll say you cast Firebolt, and then there'll be a little button that lets you click on it, and then you'll go and it'll essentially open like this thing here. Like if you click on the button, it'll give you a little pop-up that shows you this, so you know what the action that person did was. But yeah, so that's about it, and I hope that seems interesting to all y'all. Have a good night.